Thanks for visiting the channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe and click the bell icon to be notified of future videos.
Hey folks, Dan Ryan. For this installment of the Leo and Dan Ryan look at inexpensive guitars, we're looking at the Jaymz Tempest, purchased for $199.99 from Amazon.com. Because it took me so long to unbox the last guitar we looked at. I've already cut the tape, so hopefully this will go somewhat quicker. We've got the giant piece of styrofoam and another giant piece of styrofoam. So the case candy consists of a cord, a couple of picks, and a couple of Allen wrenches.
And a battery.
Oh, is there a battery there?
Yep.
Oh, that's right. Well, maybe there's no picks. Maybe the. So I guess we're going to have to put a battery in before we can actually play it.
Perfect shot. Look at that. 2 points, Dan.
That's what she said. There's 2 points I'd like to make about your poor performance.
There's nothing you could do about that foam bag. Because that guitar is so horny, it's just going to tear it up.
Well, I'm careful enough. And I saved the time on the tape cutting parts. I guess we can spend a little more time on this. As soon as I can get it past the cutaway, it should feel much easier. Well, this interesting color scheme.
Well, I'm not sure, but that looks like an actual maple cap on it, or whatever the top of the guitar is.
No, it's a flame maple. It's a veneer. The body is mahogany.
But if you look at it from the side, you know, you can see.
Yeah, well, you can see that there's the mahogany, and this is bound. I don't think the maple is that thick.
Okay.
You know, especially for an inexpensive guitar, they want to use as little of that as possible to make as many guitars as possible.
Right.
But the flame is quite nice. I'm not sure how I feel about the color scheme. This is kind of weird. Because this does look like mahogany. So, I don't know if you could see that, but there you can actually see just how thin the maple veneer is, and it's basically less than paper thin. And the green binding, not sure how I feel about that, but they all look the same in the dark, as I always say.
I actually kind of like that as opposed to the other 3 colors that were there. Mike Fulton from Fulton Street Beats did the same guitar, but I liked this color scheme, so I bought it. I probably should have bought a different color, but
well, it's your money, and you can buy what you want.
Yeah, but this guitar is going to be sold quite quickly.
So it does have active pickups. So
right.
When we cut to tune up and go through the pickups, we're going to have to put the battery in.
Right.
Y'all won't have to witness that, so don't worry about it. Don't see any dings, and with this particular design, it would be very easy to have dings around the edge of this guitar on the back. But I don't see any, no scuffs. The finish looks just fine. It's
Quite a break angle on the neck.
Yeah.
Compared to like a Strat or something. I mean, it's
Yeah, well,
like almost Gibson-esque.
it said it has a maple neck. If it does have a maple neck, they've finished it to be closer in color to this mahogany.
Right. Well, from this distance, you can see a little bit of, it's a little lighter in color than the back.
Yeah.
The neck is, and the headstock.
This is not my favorite kind of neck because if you sweat, this kind of neck tends to grab on the webbing of your fingers as you're playing.
The trim block looks enormous.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, it fills the entire peephole there.
You know, it's more because that slot is narrow.
Well, that is a big block, though.
It has an actual rosewood fingerboard, according to the specs. It has very interesting inlays along the neck. And there's a 12th fret, and there's a 24th fret. If nothing else, a quite unique guitar in appearance. The tuning heads are they're no name, and but they appear to all have their backs. This little, I'm sure this is for the electronics. This is a kind of oddly shaped cutout, but as long as it works. And I guess what this does is it makes it so you only have 3 screws instead of 4 screws that you've got to mess with. So there you have it, the Jaymz Tempest, and we're going to stop now and tune it up, put the battery in, put the little trim arm on it, and we'll be back in a minute. Thanks. Hey folks, we're back with this Jaymz Tempest guitar, and we've gone through the appearance and the condition when it arrived, and before we go any further, we're going to do something that I will try to recall each time we review a guitar, and we're just going to call that the Bortsian E, which is without any amplification. Here's an E chord. There we go.
There you go, Gunter.
So these are active pickups, which they're supposed to have basically 0 hum. This is the neck pickup, and that's both. And when you get to the bridge pickup, the hum is pretty much gone. But the neck pickup, I can't say that. Neck's a little bit chunky. It was so far out of tune that it took me four times to get it to stay in tune. First time I stretched the strings, they actually descended at least a minor third each, which that's quite a bit. So let's see, what are we going to play here? Pretty dark sounding. nice sound. It's a very distinctive sound, but certainly usable, depending upon what you're going to be playing. Action so far is pretty nice. So we're going to tune up one more time and figure out something to play for you, and we'll be back in a minute.
Before you go, Dan, those frets are supposed to be rolled like an and on camera they look like extra jumbo frets. They're really big.
Yeah, they are. The ends are rolled. There's no sharp ends on any of these frets.
How is nut cut?
Accurately, as far as I can tell, looks like it could be a piece of black plastic, but it also could be a carbon graphite nut. It's black, so.
Right. Probably didn't say anything about that.
No, it didn't say on the specs.
Well,
for a $200 guitar, this is a pretty nice guitar. I'm not too sure about the appearance, but that's just me, and that has nothing to do with how the guitar plays or sounds. So, all right, we're going to cut for a minute and going to figure out something to play for you. We'll be right back. Thanks. Hey, folks. Dan Ryan, we're back again with this Leo Jaymz Tempest guitar. We were going to play something for you, but even when we were doing checking the pickups, it kept drifting and drifting out of tune. And earlier in the video, if you go back, you can see we looked at the block, and the block was completely in this little window here. And now it's sunk almost completely out of the window. So we kept trying to tune up the high E string, and it would get in tune, but then it would just almost immediately drift. And eventually it just pulled out of the little ball that holds it into the bridge. So I will play something with this guitar, and we won't release the video until I've done that, but I'll be probably wearing different clothes because we do this every other Wednesday, and this was going to be our last guitar of the day. So next time I come, we'll probably start with this. Leo's going to see what he can do to get it repaired, at least temporarily. All you really need to do.
I think there's just something peculiar about that particular bridge that I need to find out what it is.
Yeah. Well, because I don't use tremolo, on some of my guitars, I've deliberately blocked the trim block, so it can't move. That way, when it's in tune, and you're not risking it floating on you. So, anyway, we're going to stop for today. I'm Dan Ryan. Leo Ryan's behind the camera. We're not finished with this guitar, and you'll hear all this stuff again. But until next time, be right back. Thanks.
Morning, everybody. Normally, our channel is about can you play it right out of the box, and it still is. This Leo Jaymz Tempest that we got has a Wilkinson bridge. It's an upgraded bridge. It's not just your little cheapy, very thin pot metal trim block that you normally get. So I'm going to have to do a little adjustment on it to get it to work properly. And I'm not very good at that. We don't use trims, none of us. So it's a learning process for me. But what's happening is it's slipping back out of tune because the trim claw, I think, is too loose. And I can't really blame that on the guitar. I mean, I can only blame it on myself for not being very good at adjusting trims. I shouldn't have to. So, recommendation would not be that this guitar would be for a student, but it is an excellent guitar with, an upgraded bridge. It's not, the normal cheapy bridge, and it's a 2-point trim also, so it's, it's not even really attached to the guitar. So it's a learning process for me. So you're going to have to bear with us this time, and I'll try to show you what I do. And if I mess up, then maybe you can comment and tell me what I did. All right, we'll continue. Okay, folks, I'm taking a look at this Jaymz Tempest guitar. As you can see, the trim cloth is backed out quite a bit, so I'm just going to adjust it. I have loosened all the strings a little bit to prevent breaking any more of them. I'm going to go a little bit on one side and then the other so I can get it so that when I put the cover back on, it should be lined up with the cover again, because it was like way down that way, I believe. I'm going to take a look here in a minute when I get this tightened up a little bit more. Let's see how it looks with the cover plate on. This way. Okay. That actually looks still like it still could go just a little more. What do you think, Sam?
Hold on. Let me look better. I think that's fine.
Okay. I'm just going to put the screws back in. We'll see how it works out. Back with you in a minute. Okay, so after making that adjustment, it held better, but it still was slipping. So I reached out to 2-Bike Mike up in Canada and talked to him about it, and he explained to me that I also needed to adjust the 2 points at which the bridge attaches to the guitar, and some other things that I need to do in order to make this thing work, which I intend to do before I have Dan back over to play it. But I want to, I will liken this to if I bought a guitar with a Floyd Rose. I couldn't expect it to be adjusted properly right out of the box. And if it wasn't, I couldn't say it wasn't playable right out of the box because it has a Floyd Rose. Just because I don't know how to adjust a Floyd Rose doesn't mean that it's a bad guitar. It means that I'm a bad tech. Which I am. I'm not a tech at all. Everything that I know is just through trial and terror, and more terror than trial most of the time. Anyway, bear with us. We'll try to get it worked out before Dan plays this thing again. Back to you. Hey folks, this is what I've done to try to make this bridge work. I don't think I have it completely perfectly, but at least it's not yet slipping out of tune or out of intonation. So these 2 screws here are what holds the bridge to the guitar, and I tightened them up while I used the trim arm to level them against the body of to level the trim against the body of the guitar to take the pressure off. And seems to be an intonation. Go ahead and show them that it's intonated. Okay, so we'll continue from here. Thanks.
Hey folks, Dan Ryan here, dressed differently than the last time you saw me holding this guitar. We had a little problem that day, and Leo has, as part of this video, already gone through what that was and the solution, so I'm not going to belabor it. He did want me to mention that I just checked the intonation on the guitar, and as of about 75 seconds ago, it was in tune. And I played it a little bit, just getting the balance for this track, and it stayed in tune okay so far. But we're only talking about like a minute. But so today we have a different backing track provider, and it's somebody called Alpha Jams, and this is their Nasty Funk Jam track in D minor, and it's pretty funky. I hope you enjoy it, because I'm going to enjoy playing it, and but you don't have to if you don't want to.
Doesn't have to get sexual.
Apparently you do.
Well, that's my line. Always has been.
Yeah. There was some study that said, young men think of sex like every 23 seconds. 3 times a minute. Just think of that. That's how did we get anything done? How did the pyramids get built? Empire State Building. I could go on and on. But I won't. Let's just play this track and shut up. Jaymz Tempest. Pretty fun guitar to play. Neck's a little narrow for me, so, but still fun. That was a really fun track to play. I try not to repeat myself when we do these. I don't know if I have, maybe once, but so, you know, it's kind of the process of looking for a track that, you know, appeals to me and I think will show off the guitar well. And that track did admirably, in my humble opinion. So
I really liked it.
Well, there you go. My audience of one approves. So anyway, I'm Dan Ryan. Leo Ryan's behind the camera as usual. And we hope that you will like and subscribe and click the bell icon to be notified of our future videos. And we'll see you next time. Thanks.